Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Macroeconomics at Ozarka College. Today what I want to do is give you just a little bit of feedback on the chapters 5 and 6 activities that I finished grading yesterday. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for chapters 7 through 9 next week. Okay. So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 5 and 6 activities yesterday. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and look at your grades for those activities. Read the grading comments and let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Most of you did well on the chapters 5 and 6 assignment, so keep up the good work on that. There were a few of you that didn't answer some parts of the questions thoroughly. Some of you didn't show your calculations, so I had to count some points off on that on the problems. So if you got points counted off for those kinds of things on this assignment, just kind of make sure you focus on that for the next assignment and all the remaining assignments this semester. That way, you won't lose those points. Okay? So, but like I said, most of you did well on the assignment, so keep up the good work on that. On the discussion that we had about the CPI, or Consumer Price Index, I thought that went very well. I really appreciate everyone's input and participation on the discussion, so keep up the good work on that as well. On the chapter test, most of you did well on that. Just as a reminder, you can take those tests as many times you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. All right, so like I said, overall, most of you did well on the chapters 5 and 6 activities, so keep up the good work on that. Just like I said, let me know if you have any questions after you read through the grading comments. All right, so that brings us to our next set of activities. So if we go to the activities page in my Ozarka, right now we are kind of on the back end, kind of the end portion of week 5 of the semester. And so we just have a couple of days left in week 5. We don't have anything else due this week since we had work due earlier this week. But we do have work due next week, specifically Friday, February 20th. Under week 6 here, we've got the chapter 7 through 9 activities due. So be working on those. Very quickly, I'm going to tell you what we've got. What we're going to be covering in these chapters. Starting with Chapter 7. Chapter 7 covers inflation. And if you remember, one of the things that we learned about earlier this semester was that one of the goals of the federal government as far as trying to manage the economy is price stability. Okay? So kind of keeping making sure that inflation doesn't get out of hand, trying to control the inflation. And they do that through the fiscal and monetary policies that they set. So in Chapter 7, we're going to be learning about that. Inflation, we're going to be looking at how inflation is measured and how the U.S. government manages inflation through different, again, fiscal and monetary policies. All right, then Chapter 8 is going to deal with another one of the goals of the federal government as far as managing the economy, which is trying to control unemployment. In other words, trying to maximize the employment, or trying to basically create what's called full employment in the economy. And so in Chapter 8, you're going to learn about the 4 sources of unemployment. You'll learn about the unemployment rate and how it's calculated. You'll learn about unemployment compensation. All right. And so Chapter 8 basically looks at how the government tries to exercise that goal of maximizing employment in the economy. All right. Then Chapter 9 deals with another one of the goals, another one of the 3 goals of the government as far as managing the economy, which is economic growth, trying to create that economic growth or stimulate economic growth. And so Chapter 9 covers productivity and growth. And so we'll revisit something that we talked about in some of the earlier chapters this semester, something called the production possibilities frontier, or curve as it's sometimes called, which basically, if you remember, shows the, it's a model that basically shows the maximum amount of output that we can generate with the resources that we currently have in the economy. And it's just a way for us to kind of model that and be able to see what happens if we use our resources efficiently, and so forth. And so Chapter 9 is going to, like I said, look at the production possibilities frontier as it applies to the overall economy or the aggregate economy. We'll also look at the various factors that impact economic productivity. Of course, there's things like education and various things like that play a part in that. The type of government intervention, the type of either free markets or controlled markets that we have in an economy or in a country. Those are obviously factors that affect economic productivity and growth. And so we'll look at some of those things. We'll also look at different ways to measure economic productivity and growth. So that's Chapter 9. So basically Chapter 7 through 9 basically look at those three goals of as far as managing the economy that the federal government uses in order to try to get the most out of the resources that we have in our economy. Okay, so be working on Chapter 7 through 9, and let me know if you have any questions at all. Like I said, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have as you're working on those. Remember the resources that you have. You have your textbook, you have the PowerPoint slides that I posted on the assignment page, and you've got your videos that I posted on the assignment page. So make sure you're using all those resources effectively. Most of you, I think, are doing that. There are a few of you that I think are probably relying too much on external resources like AI tools and so forth. Just make sure that you're using your own words and that you're using the resources provided. And like I said, most of you are already doing that. But just like I said, let me know if you have questions as you're working. And have a good weekend. Have a good week next week. And I probably won't talk to you next week since, as far as on a video, because our work is not due until late next week. So it'll probably be early the next week that I will talk to you again. But I will talk to you then, and thank you.